views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDBTV.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Las Vegas Law Talk. This is episode number 4. It feels like I've been away for a few weeks, and I have. Kelso, thanks for coming back.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming back. Kelso is one of our peer counselors in the Clark County Law Foundation's Trial by Peers program. And I realized today he is the third son in his family to go through Trial by Peers.
That is correct.
That's pretty cool. So you obviously saw your brothers do it and liked what they were doing?
Yes.
That's awesome. I love that. And also, co-host for the entire show today is Mandy McKellar.
Yes, thank you for having me here today.
Of course, thank you so much for coming, Mandy. Mandy is running for Judicial Department, Family Court M, Department M.
Department M for McKellar.
I was wondering if that might have been the reason.
McKellar, yes.
We're Mandy McKellar in Department M. So we'll be talking to Mandy a couple of segments about, her practice and why she's running for judge now. But of course, for our first segment, we want to talk about the good news. There's been a lot going on in the news, of course, but we have some good stuff always going on with the Clark County Law Foundation. Of course, we had our spring mixer on March 5th. That was over at the Capitol Grill, and honestly, it turned out to be a really, really great event. We had a lot of candidates there, which is really nice. Everyone came out to show their support of Trial by Peers, which, Mandy, I don't know if you know, but Trial by Peers, it's our local diversionary court. So we're, as always, we're taking cases out of juvenile justice, and we're making sure that teens who've gotten charged with crimes are given a second chance. With the help of peer counselors like Kelso, they go into court and either have not guilty trials or have guilty sentencing. So we love that everyone came out on March 5th to help us support Trial by Peers. And speaking of Trial by Peers, we've got the summer course is coming up. We've got that starts June 9th, and that's always at the State Bar of Nevada. We're accepting interest forms right now at the Clark County Law Foundation, so you can go to their website, clarkcountylawfoundation.org, and make sure that you submit an interest form if you have a teen, a 12 to 17-year-old who might be interested in becoming a peer counselor like Kelso over here and his brothers for this program that's been running for 25 years. And I think that's the amazing thing about this program. I mean, it's been going for so long that we have been able to have multiple siblings and multiple families. Kelso's family isn't the only one that sent all of their kids through the program with us. So we love that we have the ability to bring multiple kids in a family through our program. So if you're interested in the summer course or have a teen who might be interested in becoming a peer counselor in the Trial by Peers program, make sure that they submit their interest form so that they can get in for that. And then the next thing that we have for the Law Foundation coming up, we finally got everything nailed down for it, which is great. It's the Liberty Bell Awards and Let Freedom Ring art contest. Now, not as many people know about that part of the Law Foundation, so we're really trying to make sure that we bring some more awareness to it. So the Liberty Bell Award has been given out since the 80s. It's always been given to a judge, a lawyer, or a lawmaker who is upholding the rule of civics and is encouraging good civics in Nevada. So we're putting out our nominations for that very soon, and we've set down the date for the award ceremony, which will be May 2nd, 2020, and that'll be over at the historic 5th Street School, where we have the Clark County Law Foundation was responsible for getting the Liberty Bell installed over there. So we love to have our event at the Liberty Bell and have our award ceremony there with our Liberty Bell Award winners. So that will be fun. The art contest this year. Now, how it used to be, for historically, we always opened it up to just one school. We would have Joe Mackey Elementary School would be our school, and we would go over there and read the elementary school students a book about Liberty Bell, and then they would do a little poster contest and that kind of thing. Well, last year we were fortunate enough to open it up to the entire school district. So all ages from elementary to high school. If you're a Clark County School District student, you can participate in our art contest now. And this year's theme, we're going with the Law Day themes. This year's theme is the 19th Amendment. So the women's suffrage movement, 19th Amendment, is now 100 years old in 2019 and 2020. So that's the Law Day theme, you know. And if you have any age student who might be interested over the next month or so, about a month and a half, I think we're going to put the deadline for submissions at April 10th. So if you have any student who's interested in creating a piece, a poster, a video, any kind of piece of art for this law, for related to women's suffrage, have some point of view on that. If you're a teacher and have a class of students that you teach art to or history and want to have them do a project or some kind, we would love to have your kids participate in our art contest. Last year we got some incredible submissions, especially from our high schoolers. And so we would love to have a repeat of that this year. So again, that is the Liberty Bell Awards and Let Freedom Ring Art Contest. The award ceremony will be on May 2nd. The deadline to submit the submissions will be April 10th. And there are prizes for that. So we've got a couple of cash prizes for our winners as well. So I love to always talk about the Law Foundation. Kelso, when are we going to get you back in the courtroom?
Soon.
Good. Good. But I love having you here. It's been amazing having you here. Mandy, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so grateful. We're going to take a short little break, and then we're going to come back on with Mandy and talk more about her and her candidacy. Thanks, guys.
We could talk a little bit about the Trial by Peers program. It's been about 22 years with the Clark County Law Foundation, and the goal is to provide community service and educational opportunities to our youth. When I was teaching a summer class, preparing for the examination, and one of the parents came up to me and said it was like listening to a civics class, and that's exactly what it's about. It's about teaching good citizenship, and the whole Trial by Peers is exactly what it means. It's a trial by the peers. It's where the youth are defended by their peers, they are prosecuted by their peers, and they are judged by their peers. It's a juvenile diversion program. Youth that get citations come to the program instead of going to the court, to the juvenile court. And what happens, the thing is based on a positive peer, saying that the youth respond more to other peers, telling them it's inappropriate or hold them accountable. So it's based on the youth court and positive peer pressure. So that's the whole goal of the program.
Of my entire life, hands down, and you have to really take it for what it is and really appreciate it, because we're really lucky to have that in our city.
Opportunity to study law and know the handles around the courtroom. You know, I wasn't really good at speaking at first, but thanks to them, they helped me out. Yeah, so, and to the new peer counselors, I want to say, you got to take this seriously, because this is a program you cannot sit back on, lay back, and pretend like it's nothing. This program will help you succeed, and it will make you a better person, okay? Thank you.
back to segment 2 of Las Vegas Law Talk. We're here with Mandy McKellar.
Yes.
We're going to get to talk about her, talk about her candidacy, spend some time with her. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Well, so I mean, first things first. I mean, I just want to get to know you. I mean,
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
haven't had a chance to really hang out and about. So I want to know more about you, how you came to Vegas.
Well, okay, so I'm originally from Wyoming.
Okay.
Which is like where nobody's from. And then I left Wyoming. Well, I went to the University of Wyoming, pursued my bachelor's degree, got my law degree from Michigan.
Okay.
That was Thomas M. Cooley in Michigan. And then I always liked Vegas. When I was in Wyoming, we'd come down for like the Sweet 16. Those are other stories. We won't get into that. But I was always like, God, I want to live here, you know. And I was fortunate to get in contact with Judge Nancy Osterly when I finished law school, and I clerked for her for I think it was about 4 or 5 months throughout the summer of 2005. And God, I'm getting old. Anyway, I clerked for her, and then I ended up taking the bar exam, passing the bar exam, and I've been doing this ever since. I slipped right into family law.
Yeah.
I started working for Marshall Willick.
Nice.
Worked for him for about 3 years, and then I moved on and I started working for Bob Dickerson until eventually in 2011 I started my own practice.
Fantastic.
So family law is what I do.
Yeah.
It's been what I do.
Yeah.
Recently, well, the past couple of years, I've been doing family law additionally to juvenile delinquency.
Right.
I have a conflict, I'm a conflict attorney. So when there's many of them that, get
public
get
defenders,
arrested,
right.
then they're conflicted, then I
Right.
take over.
Right, right.
And now I'm pursuing being judge.
That's
So,
amazing, yeah.
I've always had a passion for it.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do it. I
Yeah.
believe I'm the correct candidate for
Sure.
it.
Well, I'm
looking
excited.
forward
I want to
it.
know. I mean, so what made you decide you wanted to become a lawyer?
I finished University of Wyoming with my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I went and I did an internship for probation and parole, and I interned with them for a while. And I mean, I was like 19, so I decided to, I'll take the LSAT, and I did all right on the LSAT, and I was like, okay, well now I'll just go to law
guess
school.
we'll do this thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things. Like I'm one of those people that kind of believes that you maybe follow things that are led in your just follow it.
Right, doors open, and
Right,
if you
right.
see an opportunity, you can walk through it. And
Yeah,
sometimes it's like an opportunity of a lifetime. Obviously,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So no parole and probation. You decided to go to law school,
Yep.
and then the family court thing kind of ended up, or the family law, and because you ended up in the family courts.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd always looked into criminal law and family law, and it seemed to be that I just found my place in family law.
That's great.
And I don't like to say you're good at any. I don't hate it when people say, "Oh, I'm so good at something," But I feel like I provide a lot of rationality and logical means to my clients.
Sure.
When I'll tell them exactly how it is. Like some people end up liking it that way, and some don't. Some people don't.
That's true.
And but
Well, here's the thing. I mean, let's face it. I mean, family law, when clients come to you for their family law matters, I mean, divorce and custody and, property and all of the things and the emotion that's just, in it. I mean, they come to you and they're freaking out and upset, you know, and so it's good to hear that you're willing to, lay it out for them, because sometimes, I mean, in my own experience and why I don't practice family law is because the clients are they can be a little irrational sometimes, and I get it, of course, because again, the situations are so emotion-filled, and it's, you're ripping apart a family, it feels like, to them, and, they've come with all of this baggage, but how do you try and sort of support them through it as well? I mean, obviously being straight with them is one of the things, but how else is it for you to support them through that?
I tell them right off the bat, like, if they want somebody to handle them with kit gloves, I'm not going to be their attorney.
Yeah.
When they, he cheated and he lied. It's a very, very emotional. But the bottom line is, what are we dividing? What do you have? What do you owe?
Right.
What's your relationship with the kids? Kids that's where a lot of it comes in.
Of course.
Because everybody seems to want to fight over them, and I will literally kind of get in their face and be like, no, you can't do this because you're impacting your children.
Right.
And I see children get caught into that, and I try to
crossfire,
maintain a great amount of client control.
Sure.
You have to have that for family law. I would never charge somebody $10,000 to get $5,000.
Right.
So it does sometimes. Certain causes just don't make sense.
You're like, risk versus reward
Yeah,
is a big
yes.
thing that lawyers talk about all the time. I mean, and I get in the family law arena, it can be a lot harder for clients to digest that. You know what I mean?
It very much so.
So it's your job, obviously, as the attorney, to be able to sift through the noise of some of that
Yes,
stuff.
you got to
and-
keep your eye on the ball.
Yeah, you have to be able to sort of sift through the noise, like, these are our facts and this is the law and what's in the best interest of children and, all of those things. Like, what do we actually have to keep in mind here? Like, I know you're upset about the fact that he cheated with Sally, 3 times, but,
Right.
but that doesn't matter when we go into the court, unfortunately. Like, you might want to say it, but the judge it's not something that the judges are really looking at.
No, it's not. And what it is it's years of experience. Like, so I always tell people, I'm like, I have seen everything. Like I've seen, and just when I think I've seen and heard everything, I hear something else. And I'm like, well, maybe I didn't hear and see everything yet. So, it is one of those things, we're all human. We all have our tendencies. Humans are run on emotions. So I keep your eye on the ball. Try to find the tree in the forest.
Sure.
As, and it's better off for litigants in family court to settle their disputes. But I have had cases to the Supreme Court. I've litigated. I've gone to trial on many things because sometimes, if the other side is not being controlled by their attorney, you have
That's
to.
where you end up.
Yeah,
is,
you have to. You just have to.
So we're doing the trials in front of the judges, and and then it's up to the judge at that point to decide, right? That's a risky place to be. It can be a risky place to be. You
Very
know what
much
I mean?
so.
Because it's out of your control as a client. You know what I mean? In
Right.
settling, you have a measure of control, even if you're not the most happy with everything, or you don't get everything you want. At least you have certainty, right?
Right. I boil it down to that. Like, it's like, look, you guys, you got married. You were married for 26 years. Why are you going to have a stranger on the bench decide your problems? Like, you had the kids, you got them here.
Right.
These are my blunt characteristics comes out when I'm dealing with a client.
Sure.
But sometimes you just some, and it's very few. You can't get there. You just have to go into court and have the judge make a decision.
Sure. Yeah.
And since I've been doing this for so long, I believe I am the correct judge to make this decision. I'm not a judge yet. I will be.
Candidate. The correct candidate, she says.
I am the appropriate candidate to make these decisions.
Sure. No, I mean, and so we can get it. Why did you decide now at this point in your career to make the leap and run for a judicial department?
Well, I get that all the time too. Like, you're so young to be a judge.
No, I didn't mean it that way. No, I'm just wondering
No,
why
that's
in
not
your
what you're
career.
saying.
No,
but
yeah, no, you're just curious.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 14 years. I got another experience in family court by being in juvenile delinquency. So I've added on to that. I've done guardianship. I've done every aspect that there is down in family court. So I have the experience. I'm prepared for it.
And you must really enjoy it as well.
I enjoy it. And I think when I decided to run for judge was a couple years ago. I started doing mediations. And every case that was walking through my door, and that's with the 2 attorneys, and you're the mediator, and I wasn't even making any money on it. I just did it pro bono.
Right.
Every case that was coming in, I was settling with, and that's a very important part of being a judge as well.
Absolutely.
one reason why I started thinking, you know, maybe I have a knack for this as much as
the neutral role, right?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
I enjoyed being in the neutral role and kind of telling both sides, like, and there wasn't one case that walked through my office that I didn't settle. It was
amazing.
Yeah, it was hard to. It was hard to actually advertise for it and advocate for it, and I had, you know, certain attorneys that are friends of mine that kept coming back, and you know, I would do it.
Yeah.
You know, just take an afternoon and settle their cases for them.
Right.
But so I never really got into the mediation aspect of, like, you know, what some people do with charging people. It's usually former judges. So
yeah.
but
ARM is our biggest probably mediators
yeah,
out there,
yeah.
you know, ARM.
Yes, yes, that's everybody hears about ARM. So it's like, but you know, they were in those positions, so they're the most appropriate people to do it. And I was like, well, if I like this so much, and this is maybe something I want to do.
Well, obviously, negotiation is part of being a lawyer.
It's
what we do all
so
the time. I mean,
important.
you know, we're negotiating with clients, we're negotiating with other attorneys, we're, you know, it feels like we're negotiating when we're on the bench, you know, because obviously you're making arguments for your
Right.
position, right? You know what I mean? So we're always kind of negotiating anyways, and being in that ability to sort of now manage both sides is obviously a good quality, and so that you've put that into your practice at all is phenomenal.
Right, and you know, I like to know the facts of each case and, you know, what we're actually dealing with, and I think that's also very important when you're a judge.
Yeah.
You got to listen to the facts on both sides, and like we were talking about earlier, just, you know, kind of keep the noise.
Gotta sift through all of the noise. You know what I
Keeping
mean?
the noise at a distance.
Yeah.
It's like social distancing.
Right. Oh, our poor social distancing. We're a few feet away. We're okay.
we're good. We're safe.
We're safe.
Don't
yes.
touch your face.
And speaking of, we've also got hand sanitizer from our friends over at Right Lawyers. Thank you, Stacey Rocheleau, for your hand sanitizer. That's brilliant marketing, just for the record.
That's very brilliant. And I'm gonna probably
It's brilliant.
take that from Stacey and Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, Rock came to the mixer on the 5th, and he handed me one, and I was like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. All right, Mandy, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back. We'll talk more about why this department, what you want to bring to the bench, and that kind of thing. All right, we'll be right back, friends.
This is Sergeant Tim Sutton with Heroes for Autism. There are studies that show at least 49% of all interactions with law enforcement involve somebody with a disability, some of whom have autism. It's imperative that we get out there and train our public safety officers to understand autism and the behaviors related to it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Las Vegas Law Talk. I'm your host Alexis Brown, and we've got Mandy McKellar, candidate for Family Court Department M, back with us.
Yes.
Thank you again for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let's get into your candidacy now. It's been great to learn, although we learned some interesting stuff over the break that might come out. But I just, I want to know, we talked a little bit about why judge now. I want to know what you want to bring to the bench. This is Department M. It was Judge Potter's department, and Judge Potter is retiring.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
this is an open department, so you're not running against an incumbent, you're just running against fellow candidates for the department.
Yes, correct.
Perfect. So I guess, there was no animus, obviously, towards the current judge. So
No.
which is why sometimes people run against incumbents, but not always. So what do you want to bring to this department? If you're elected by the voters out there, what do you want to bring to the bench?
Well, in comparison to the incumbent, because that's all you can really compare it to, is I want to bring some light to that department.
Okay.
It's I don't want to sit here and note, but it's been lacking in light, and love and acceptance and ears for quite some time. Currently, it's held as a guardianship position, but they've already announced that it depends on where we want to put you. So they could put me in a guardianship position to judge guardianship cases.
Sure.
They could put me in family cases, or they could put me in delinquency. I'm prepared for any of them.
Right.
Dependency as well. I've done dependency.
Yeah.
So I'm prepared for either way they want to go with it.
Okay.
And that's what I would bring to the bench. I would bring a flexibility for the administration and everybody to be able to, so where can we put her because she has experience with everything.
Right.
I haven't done just one niche. You know, I've been on all of them.
Yeah.
I want them to, or I want there to be judges that just can jump right in and like hit the ground running, and that's what you want from any elected judge.
Of course.
Is somebody that's not going to take a while to get them to, you know.
Well, no, and it's good to hear. So it's a little more difficult in some of the district courts because it's criminal and civil, right? And so a lot of the attorneys that are running for candidacy in the district court, you know, some of them have just criminal experience, some of them have just civil experience. So, I mean, in the family court, obviously, you know, we're doing a lot of different things, you know.
Right.
And it sounds like you've got some experience, to lead you wherever they may kind of put you at once this reorganization kind of happens. And obviously, with
Right.
all of the departments up, there could be some real reorganization afterwards, right?
Right. And it's important to have, you know, knowledgeable judges on the bench.
And isn't it true that, I mean, over the course of time, I mean, your position can change as well.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you might start in guardianship, but then
Right.
you might switch to custody and divorce, or you
Absolutely.
might switch to dependency or delinquency or whatever, right?
They can switch you anytime.
Right.
And I'm comfortable with any way that they want to put it.
Sure.
Obviously, I have more experience in some cases than others because, you know, divorce and family law and now juvenile delinquency has been like my niche. But I have experience in all of them ever since I opened my own practice. So, you know, you got I've litigated guardianship cases, I've litigated dependency cases. So I'm just, you know, I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to roll.
Let's get in there.
Let's do it. You don't have to, you know, wait months for me to get used to the position. I'll be ready for it the day one.
Sure.
Day one.
That's awesome. I mean, obviously, you know, I mean, there's a judicial college, so all the judges go to the judicial college and learn about certain things about being a judge and, you know, some of the mechanics of it and that kind of thing. So there's always a little bit of a curve when a new person comes in, but when it comes to the law, that's the importance. You know, I mean, you know, if you don't know the law, then you're going to have an even bigger curve. You know what I mean? Or if you don't know part of the law because you're just criminal or whatever. You know what I mean? It can be a tough thing. And I don't think I would want a judge that would have that much difficulty, you know, necessarily going into a position. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing I've noticed since I've been out campaigning before current events.
We're still campaigning.
We're still campaigning today. Is there's a lack of communication between the bench and certain community items that I've noticed lately, like charities.
Okay.
You know, or it just seems to me that there's a lack of involvement. And the reason I think about it a lot is because I worked with Judge Osterly, and Judge Osterly was always so involved.
She was
with the
involved with
community.
Trial by Peers. I
She was
remember
involved
her
with
name.
Trial by Peers.
Yeah, I
she
remember
had the
her name.
kids come into court, and we'd do like, you know, the big bad wolf, and you know, she'd let them use the courtroom, and as far as I've noticed, that we don't really have that in family law.
Well, I mean, Judge Sullivan over there is
He's amazing.
He's our champion
Yes,
at Trial by
he's amazing.
Peers.
He's
and
amazing.
Without him, truthfully, I mean, we wouldn't have a presence in the family court. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I would love to have, we want more. And it actually excites me to hear that you're interested in community outreach because,
Absolutely.
you know, as being on the bench, I mean, you know, your job is, of course, dealing with the things in the courtroom, but why not go out into the community more
Exactly.
and make sure that there are services for people or that, you know, you're just, connected with the right places.
Or
So-
even just knowing what those services are. I went to the Shiro Foundation, and I didn't see any lawyers or judges or anything. I was the only one,
Right.
the only candidate. I go to things where I'm the only candidate. And I'm just like, wow, this is just an amazing event. And, you know, it's about human trafficking and things that happen to women. And it opens your eyes even just to sit there and hear their stories, you know, and it's, I was like, wow, there's a lack of everybody being involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
you know?
That's good. So we'll, you know, get Mandy on the bench. She's going to make sure to connect the community.
Yeah,
to
I feel like there's a bridge. There needs to be a bridge. I'll be the bridge. It's fine.
That's. Let me be the bridge in Department M, please.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you think? I mean, how are you going to manage it all? I mean, obviously you have your own practice, so you're very busy that way. So you're used to the craziness that comes along with working all the time. And all that kind of stuff, and of course doing trials, you're working all the time. But I mean, once you're on the bench, you're going to be
on the
working
bench.
just as hard or harder, right?
Oh,
Because
probably. I mean, harder.
You know?
I'm assuming it's going to be harder.
yeah, because you're going to be on the bench all day,
On
pretty
the bench all
much.
the day, listening to disputes,
And then at night,
get at night, cocktail parties, and however I gotta
Reading
connect
briefs
people.
and all the
yeah,
things,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely, absolutely.
You know?
I mean, everybody, everybody. When you work, you have to find a balance. I mean, I don't have any children. Some
Okay.
people have actually attacked me on that. Like, how are you going to be a family court judge if you don't have children?
oh,
I'm like,
because we don't care about children because we
yeah.
don't have children.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
like-
have kids either, Mandy.
yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I will say I have 2 pugs.
Fur babies are things.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly, I think it kind of helps me in my family law disputes that I don't, because I have a different way of looking at things than people who are very emotionally involved in the aspects of it do. But so I don't have any of that. I don't vacation much. I mean, I probably need a vacation, of course, now.
No vacations for you
can
now.
get
What are
real
you
cheap.
talking-
Yeah, you get it real cheap.
Right?
But I've always been a very hard worker, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, so how do you plan to make sure you're staying balanced though once you're on the bench? Because obviously, if you can't,
I
you know,
do
if you're not
various things.
filling yourself up, then
When I feel like I need to have friend time, I have friend time.
Yeah.
When I feel like I need to go to an event and see people, I'll go to one of those. If
Yeah.
I need to be at home and just,
Right.
with my dogs and my significant other,
your
I'll do
famous
that.
boyfriend.
Yeah. You would totally disagree with that.
Well, he might, but the rest of us don't.
Right? I do yoga. I just try to maintain a work-life balance.
yeah.
That's all it's about.
Right. So I want to say this. I don't practice in family law in the family courts myself, but as an advocate, of course, I have an opinion as far as what I would like to see in a judge, and I've said it before on the show and to many, many people. Candidates like, I always want as an advocate, and you may feel the same, I want to know when I walk into a courtroom that the judge has read my brief, because I have worked on it, my client has paid for it, you know what I mean, and I have worked on it. And I want to make sure that they are listening to me argue. And then the third thing is once you've listened to me fully argue, don't cut me off, and my client does want me to say something for them,
Right.
And then the third thing is just issue a reasoned opinion.
Right.
You know-
In a timely manner.
Oh, honestly, I feel like that may be a more of an issue in family court than it is in the district courts. But I think because I had Romeo Perez on as a candidate, and he mentioned the same thing, timeliness. So I don't know if maybe is that an issue in family court sometimes?
It's an issue. I mean,
yeah.
if you have an order where somebody is supposed to follow a certain custody exchange, and it's taken 60 days to get an order. You have 60 days of clients
Confusion.
calling you on the phone, wondering where the order is. First off, and like, how do we follow the order? Now, I mean, we
Right.
have like a minute order, but Marshall Willick was actually working with a committee on getting orders to a point where when you're in court. And you finalize and you make those orders because we have temporary orders in family court, like we got to put a Band-Aid on it,
Right, right.
That the order is signed, it's handed to both counsel that day, and everybody has the order. And I don't know what happens, but I intend on
Following up on that.
upon taking the bench, following up on that.
Okay.
Additionally, a lot of things that we should be able to order without a hearing. We should be able to do
More chambers
some things
hearings?
on the pleadings. If you write a really well-written brief, like.
Right.
You should be able to make an order on who picks up the kid on Sunday at 5.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, when it's a small issue like that, why do we even need to have a full-blown hearing necessarily if it's fairly straightforward? Obviously,
Right.
why not reserve the in-court time, because that disrupts schedules and, work and all the different things. So, why not have it so you can have, a bench hearing, where it's the chambers. Well, they do chambers hearing in the district court all the time for different random things, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to increase the or decrease the time to orders and make sure, but the reason decisions. I don't ever care if a judge, if a judge, I think, gets it wrong, we have remedies. We have things we can do as lawyers, as advocates to handle that. You know what I mean? So if a judge rules against me and my client, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just as long as they've listened, they've read.
Right. Right.
Because you can tell when you walk into a courtroom and a judge hasn't prepared.
Oh yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
isn't it the worst feeling sometimes?
It's awful, and it doesn't make you look good as an attorney when you walk in. And I've had it where I walk in and they don't know how many kids my client has. They don't even know anything about the case, and I don't know if it's just because they didn't read anything, or maybe their law clerk didn't provide them the appropriate brief.
Bench
I
brief,
don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
But then your client kind of looks at you like, well, did you file that? And it's like, yes, I worked painlessly to get this filed on time. That is one complaint I've had from clients before too, is that well, they didn't read anything, and it's. It's a lot of reading. I love reading, though, so it's fine.
That's
good. It's going to be a lot of reading and a lot of preparation, but you got to do the preparation.
Well, right. I mean, and honestly, I think as a judge, that's one thing that can separate. Again, when I walk into a courtroom, that's what separates a good versus a not so good judge for me as an advocate, is just as long as they, like I said, they seem prepared, and at least, sure, they may not get every nuance, because obviously we write a lot of briefs and you got to read a lot of things, but, knowing, they've got 4 kids, like, that's usually on the first page.
Yeah, right.
That's
the
usually,
first paragraph.
a major detail that, they're usually listed out by name typically, aren't they? I'm just saying, but. Right. Well, that's great. I mean, it's good to hear. I mean, I'm glad to hear what you're planning to maybe bring into the family court if you are elected to the bench, and yeah, I really wish you the best of luck on your campaign. Do you have any events coming? I mean, I know there's really no events. Are you looking forward into May or anything? I know the primary is June. What? 9th? What's the primary date? I can't even remember
the
now.
voting for primary starts May 26th, and the ending is June 9th.
Okay.
I was to have an event, and I had like 150 people confirmed.
Oh, bummer. Yeah.
It was next Friday. It's actually my 40th birthday.
Oh, well,
so
happy
it was like
birthday, though.
It was my campaign kickoff and my 40th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Now I think I'll be eating cake with my 2 pugs and my dude. Like, but I can't. I had to postpone it. I had to postpone it just to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
And it sucks for me because I'm such a social person. Like everybody is always like, "You're a social butterfly," and now it's like, oh my God, it's like being in jail. Like
check on your extroverted friends, people. They are not doing well right now.
We are not.
They're
doing
not
very
doing
well at all. We're
the
just
introverts
like, what are we supposed to do? Today I think I'm just gonna go rollerblading just so I can get it out.
I think that's what our extroverts are going to have to do. You got to get outside, into the nature more.
Well, I mean, burn off the 2 days we've had rain, so I was like, I can't rollerblade. What am I supposed to do?
You poor thing.
It is rescheduled. I'm looking at the end of April, maybe beginning of May, just depending on its day to day.
Okay,
that's all we can do.
Of course. Well, where can our viewers keep up with you? Take a look, find you. You know what I mean, so they can keep up on your
absolutely.
events. Where can we find you?
I am on all social media.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram, not Twitter though. I don't understand that. Or TikTok.
That's okay. That's all right.
I'm on Instagram. My name, Mandy McKellar, McKellar. I have a Facebook page, McKellar for Judge, and I also have a website, www.mckellarforjudge.com.
And it's FOR, not the number 4, right?
Yes, it's FOR.
Some people are using the 4, so I just,
no,
just wanted to make sure.
No numbers, no acronyms.
Got it.
And everything is up there.
Perfect.
You Google me, I pops right up. So
perfect. Well, make sure you guys go and look more for Mandy McKellar. Catch her out on the campaign trail as soon as all this other stuff dies down.
Yeah.
But until then, we've got a great video here. She's going to be on the social medias, making sure that you know who she is. And we'll see her out there. Thank you. We're going to have Tiffany Smith come on as our next guest. Mandy will be with us as well. We'll come back from a break and have Tiffany on.
I can't wait to hear this one.
Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. So it's not a bad idea every now and then to check your battery. If you don't know how to do it, have somebody check it for you. Just a visual inspection can tell you a lot about your battery. So as we can see here, this battery's got a hold down. It's nice and tight. The cables are on. They don't look bad. We've got a cover. We don't see any corrosion. Everything's kind of tight, looking good. A little bit of dirt, that's normal, but nothing's leaking. No real cause for alarm here. So that's a good sign. Doesn't mean it's good, but at least visually we know that it's intact. Okay, so we're looking at a battery here that shows signs of corrosion. We want to test that battery to make sure it's good. Usually when they're getting like this, there's going to be a problem, leaking some acid at the top. We ran the test and we find out it has 396 cold cranking amps, but the battery requires 650. So it's just not enough. The battery is going to go soon. Better to know now than later. Okay, so the benefits of checking the cable is because this cable's rotted out. What we'll find is this is the problem, not the battery. So it'll save you from buying a battery, still having the no start, only to find out that it's a cable. This type of corrosion is common in diesels. Okay, so we're getting ready to jump the car, but we have to have some battery cables. And we have to check those too before we hook them up to the battery. So here we have our standard set of battery cables. We just look them over, see if the ends are frayed, if everything's connected all right. Everything looks good here. Wouldn't hurt to check the rest of the cable just to make sure the dog didn't get it and chew it up. We have red and black. Red's positive, black's negative. You always want to hook the positive up first and then the negative. And I'll show you how that's done right now. Keep these off to the side so they're not touching each other. Hook up your positive. You can find that right here by the plus sign, the negative sign. Plus is positive, red. Make sure that's securely hooked up. Keeping these away from each other. Hook up your negative cable. Just got to fight it on there. Figure out a way to get it. Wiggle it a little bit so it ensures a good connection. Now you're transferring voltage. If I hit these two together, we're going to spark. Kind of want to avoid that. Won't kill you. Kind of fun. A lot of people think if they can turn the headlights on, the battery's fine. That's not always the case. It takes very little amperage to turn a light on, but it takes a lot of amperage to start the starter. I recommend checking the charging system every oil change. At Sun Valley Automotive, there's never a charge for that. This is Crazy Terry with your car care tip of the day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our last segment of Las Vegas Law Talk. I am your host, Alexis Brown. We, of course, have Mandy McKellar still with us for Family Court Department M, and we are welcoming Dr. Tiffany M. Smith. I apologize, I didn't call her doctor the last segment. She is a nurse, a functional and integrative psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner.
Awesome.
Got it. I had to read it, but I got it.
Say that like 5 times fast.
I could never. And neither could you, Mandy.
No. I'm not even going to try to butcher it.
So,
No.
I mean, functional integrative psychiatric mental health, that is a mouthful. Tell us, about you and what that is.
Yeah, so, I get a lot of clients that come to me and they say, oh, I have tried everything and now I need some mental health care. It's like they had to get to the rock bottom before they would come and get mental health care. And of course, a lot of times when you come and get mental health care, you're getting prescriptions. You're going to be put on the Zoloft, you're going to be put on that. And I feel that we need to offer more options to people because sometimes you need a hug, you need an ear. It's just you going through life. And so I want to be able to offer more to people. So, functional medicine. What functional medicine does, it looks at the whole person, not just the symptom, not just you're sad and anxious, but looks at your whole life. I take an extensive history. I look at your genetics. I look at your environment, your lifestyles. And then I take all of that and look at your potentials or actualities of complex diseases and things like that. And what I do is I create a comprehensive prescription that includes sleep, relationships, nutrition. It's a lifestyle prescription. So I call it a lifestyle plus prescription.
Okay.
And it's not Zoloft and Xanax. It's going to be nutritional supplements, a diet specific for you. Laboratory testing may need to be done to really hone in because everything is connected.
Yes,
so in talking
absolutely.
about talking about your immune system, it's going to impact your mental health.
Right.
So if I can
And
help,
vice versa.
and vice versa,
That's-
and we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, honestly, we've been alluding to it, of course, throughout the show. With all of the coronavirus concerns, and not even just coronavirus, to be honest with you, just any sickness. You know what I
Correct.
mean? I think that how you go into it mentally, or our surgery, any of those things, how you go into it mentally and how you
Yes.
deal with it mentally is going to help you recover or not.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, all right. So you're looking at the whole body. You're trying to, go into. It sort of reminded me a little bit of my very first episode with Amber, and you were here that day with Kelso. You know what I mean? And we were talking about sort of that wheel of looking at all aspects of your life, and making sure that you're reevaluating each one to make sure you're fully balanced. Because if you're not fully balanced, then you're going to be limping along, right?
Exactly.
That makes sense. No, that makes
Exactly.
sense. So we brought Tiffany on today so that we could really talk about how to build our immune systems, because as we're all trying to kind of navigate things right now, and there's a lot of stress and a lot of fear and a lot of potential for illness and things like that, what can we do, Dr. Smith, to make sure that we're keeping healthy?
Yes.
What are your top tips for that?
Yeah, so what I have for you today are my top 7 ways to strengthen your immune system.
Okay.
A lot of emphasis is on the number one thing of reducing exposure, and of course that's number 1, hand sanitizing.
Thank you, Stacey Rochelo.
Right, washing our hands. That's reducing our exposure. But what about our bodies? What about ourselves? We have to build ourselves up. And in this time, all this stress. So let's start with the top 7, and we'll talk about each one. So the first one is avoiding sugar, alcohol, and smoking.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't put coffee in there. So
People are very possessive about their coffee.
right, and coffee isn't all bad, but a lot of times it's what you're putting in it. And so that's where I kind of cover it when I say sugar.
That's fair.
You
That's
know.
fair.
So-
No, yeah, of course, yeah. And that's pretty
Right.
basic. First things first, our diet. Like,
Right.
let's look at our diet.
But
a little
who's
bit,
thinking
right?
about that right now, right? You look at the news, you get it. If you're a drinker, you're going to pick up a drink because it's just too stressful.
Yeah.
Right.
But it breaks you down. That sugar content, it's breaking down the immune system. It's not allowing your body to heal. It's weakening the immune system. So smoking also is a vasoconstrictor. You're not getting proper circulation in your body. You're not getting the nutrients, the oxygen. It's decreasing everything that's in your blood that's good from circulating throughout the body.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, so exercising regularly. Exercising is excellent just for overall health. It helps mental health, it helps your overall physical health, and it's
Cardiovascular, everything.
exactly.
All
it's
of
a
it.
de-stressor too. It's an outlet. So you mentioned, I need to go rollerblading. It's an outlet, It's definitely an outlet. So if you're home and due to the coronavirus, don't sit down.
So what do we do at home? Yoga on YouTube.
That's
I
right.
love YouTube so much. I'm an
Yeah.
at-home yogi for that very, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go to, I never like to go to gyms anyways, but now I really don't want to go to a gym. Yeah,
Right.
all right, so exercise regularly. What else? What else you got for us?
And especially with the emphasis on what you just said, the YouTube videos, the yoga. We're going to circle back to yoga with the de-stress. But I like the active video games. It's not as many now, but the active
The
video
Wii
games.
days,
Yes,
yeah.
tennis and all of that. Even just doing things around the house. We have what's called non-essential activities. So vacuuming, make it a lunge, And we've learned these things throughout life, in the shower, raise up and do like some calf pumps or something.
Please, let's all squeeze our glutes right now, ladies.
Right, but in this time, you got to find laughter. You got to enjoy yourself and just try to incorporate that, in things. So make it where you
just go for a walk.
Go for
a walk outside.
The fresh air and sunshine
exactly
can be magical sometimes.
Which leads us
right?
into our next thing: clean water, clean air. We need nature. We need to step outside. Our homes can be the most toxic place because of the recirculated air, the air conditioning, and things like that. And air filters and having air filtration system is very important for your health. So keep that in mind. Open the windows when it's nice. Step outside if you can.
I do that all the time. I love opening my windows. Even when it
yes.
rains, I open up the windows, all those ions.
It's therapeutic.
It
It
is,
feels
yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's another way of, again, releasing too.
Absolutely.
So your body really needs that. Water, hydration.
Of course.
The hydration is important. Of course, everybody bought all the water, so you got it.
Now drink it.
Now drink it.
Now you need
Don't
to,
hang on to it. Drink it.
Now you need to drink it.
Yeah.
So the recommendation is that you drink at least half your body weight in ounces.
It's a lot of water.
That is a lot of water. But this is what I suggest. Wherever you are, just try to add on to that. Just try to add on to that. And some people, I try. So if you're sitting at home watching TV, Drink on the commercials. If it's Netflix and no commercials, do something like drink every time they say you know, or something. Take
Make it a
sip.
game, yeah, sure.
Make
sure.
it a game, but
Yeah.
find a way to integrate it. Some things I've done is sometimes I found out like glass in a water. I mean, water in a glass. Sometimes I'd use a straw, which will help me drink more.
Right.
If I have a certain cup and I say, okay, well, this is only 8 ounces.
Right.
So that's half a water bottle. If I pour half of there and I drink that, hey, I'm almost through a water bottle.
Sure.
So whatever it takes for you to mentally work through drinking some water, you can do it. But you have to be aware of what you're doing in your healthcare, and that's what I'm trying to do, is bring awareness.
Absolutely.
All right, pooping regularly.
We get to talk about poop.
Let's
No, I'm
talk
kidding.
about poop. Pooping is so important, and so many people
regularity,
are
yeah,
and
yeah.
so many people are constipated. You are you are everything you bring in and what you don't poop out. You know, so pooping gets and urinating, it gets all of the bad stuff out. It gets the toxins out. So when you bring in the water, it's flushing the system. It's helping your cells have what they need to make their cytoplasm do their work. And then it's getting rid of and excreting all of the toxins. So if you're holding on to that, you're actually making your body more toxic if you're not pooping. I've heard recommendations of 3 times a day you should poop, but at least daily.
That's a lot.
But
That's a lot, Dr. Smith.
That is, I'm with you.
But at least daily.
At
No, I
least
agree, yeah.
daily, you know.
I mean, if you're not, I suppose. I mean, what can drink more water? Probably.
Drinking more water and exercise
Okay.
are definitely de-stressing, because a lot of times we're anal retentive, you know. And what
I know a lot of people like that.
yeah, and what I
We
mean,
work with a lot of lawyers. No, but that's fair. I mean, you know, so okay, so yeah, water. I mean, I'm sure
and
your diet
exercise.
probably sometimes.
Yeah, and we'll get to the diet too, which isn't next, but it's coming up.
Yeah.
And so, diet, fiber. If necessary, you may need to take certain natural things to help move you. But with the anal retentive part, what I'm talking about is you're busy. You're on the go. You get up, you're running late, you're out the door. You don't have time to stop and relax. If you get the urge, you're ignoring it because you got to keep moving.
Right.
And it's not, the urge to move your bowels isn't as aggressive as when you have to urinate. Everything stops when you got to urinate.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but when
no,
your
it's
bowels,
true. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and so it's not going to bug you
Right.
like urination does. So really pay attention to your body, become more aware. And that's really a huge premise. Again, awareness, awareness, awareness. And so awareness to your body. Do you need to drink more water? What are those things your body said, hey, we should get up, and you didn't do it?
Right.
Hey, I need a little bit more water, and you didn't do it. So pay attention to your body. Your body's going to tell you what you need. Now, if your body starts to ask for sugar, beware. That's saying you may have something, and it's trying to get you to feed it. Okay? So if you're like craving the things you know you shouldn't have, beware.
There may be something else that's out of whack.
It's something else that's out of whack.
Got it.
So I'm going to give you an infographic with all of these tips, and so refer to it if you feel like that.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Because
Yeah.
you're going to forget, and you're
Right.
going to say, I want the cupcake. But get you some water. And so let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Increase in relaxation. I was going to say get some sleep. So increase in relaxation.
We talked about that, yoga,
Exactly.
you know, that kind of thing,
Exactly.
de-stressing.
De-stressing.
Yeah, ooh, yes.
One big one, though, in our society right now is separating from society, unplugging. You gotta
In a
unplug.
healthy way.
Well, now that's what
In a
we're supposed
healthy
to
way. You know, and some of that, you know, maybe that's a little bit of lesson for all of us, you know, just to be
Yes.
able to
It's a
unplug
reminder.
a tiny
Chill
bit,
out.
you know, unplug a tiny bit.
Right, and depending on your life and who you are, like you're going to be in a very significant position, and maybe you can't unplug as much, but you could take 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
You know, even 5 minutes, an hour, if necessary, but you can unplug.
Right.
And you have to for your mental health.
Right.
It revives you and rehabilitates you and helps you be resilient
Absolutely.
to deal with whatever's coming in life, whatever attacks your body. You need to increase relaxation. So I didn't say de-stress.
Right.
I want you
That's
to
smart, yeah.
increase your relaxation. So you have the tools. A lot of people already are involved in, have been involved in something. Then a stressor comes and it goes to the wayside.
And it's almost more important to take care of yourself even more when
Yes.
you get really high stress
Exactly.
because your body is doing all the things it needs to do to deal with that stress, right?
Right. And you forget when you're stressed. You forget that this helped you to relax and do that and made you feel better.
Right.
You forget.
Right.
So this is a reminder. Go back to the things that make you feel good, make you happy, because it's going to help you overall in your health.
Love that.
I even recently, like, just going on that, like,
Yeah.
the social media stuff with this whole coronavirus. I can't even look at I can't even look at anything
Turn off
anymore.
the news.
Like,
all the
unplug
things.
means, like, unplug from
of
everything
it.
that way. 'Cause
Exactly.
It stresses me out.
Exactly.
It stresses all of us out.
And by removing it, even for periods of time, you're going to
Correct.
increase.
Yeah, I
you
just
know,
can't
your-
even.
Right.
I agree.
Right, and like I said, if you can't pull too far away, you can find 5 minutes.
Right.
You know,
5
you find
minutes.
5 minutes to do other things when you're not on the phone, right?
Yeah.
You know, you find time to sleep. You find time to use the bathroom. You find time to cook, hopefully, and we'll get to that next. And, but you find time to do things where you are actually unplugged. You're not having that phone in your hand 24/7.
Right.
So look at it like that. It's just a time that you need to build in for yourself where you just take a deep breath and let it go. Okay.
Yes.
And it helps you feel better for it.
Absolutely.
All right, nutrition. Nutrition
Huge.
is huge. Okay, so let's talk about the standard American diet. High fat, processed foods. I think that this time of what we're going through is a really huge reminder about cooking at home and nutrition, because you're leery now to go out and eat places. You're not sure, and so you're uncertain. And so nutrition is huge. And one of the things that I'm offering is a 6-day immune buster meal plan.
Oh,
I'll be
amazing.
offering that for free on my website, drtiffanymmsmith.com. It's going to give you your grocery list. It's going to give you a step-by-step every day what to do. So like make your smoothies, put these in the freezer, pack your lunch.
Oh, nice.
It's going to take you step by step every day for 6 days. First day, Sunday, is the prep day. And then 6 days on some recipes that are immune boosting. So it can be a jump start
amazing.
into starting to think, and again, awareness, thinking about what can I eat that can help me. Nutrition. So let's pull back on the carbs as much as possible. A lot of us are addicted to carbs. It's a huge component. We need it for energy just in this life that we live. At the end of the day, it's really inch by inch, it's a cinch. So the way I practice is taking people from where they are to where they want to be. And that's inch by inch.
One step at a time.
Right. You may drink a lot of coffee. You may not drink a lot of coffee, but you like Diet Pepsi. And so we'll work individually with where you are and find ways to work together. It's not like the traditional stop drinking this, stop smoking, drink a low-fat diet, and that's it.
Well, here's the thing with that. I mean, I think I had weight loss surgery and I'm maintaining over 200 pounds lost. And I think the biggest thing I learned through that whole process was it's consistency, not perfection. And
That's
a lot
right.
of people jump into these like life changes and they're like, I want to do it all and be perfect at. That is just not how it works.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
you know, if you don't just be consistent and do it one day at a time, it just doesn't work, right?
All things in moderation.
And nutrition is one of those things that's hard because it is a daily thing. We have to eat, you know what I
daily,
mean?
yeah.
And we get these cravings and we get tired and all of the things happen. We get stressed out, you know what I mean? And so if you sometimes turn to food or chocolate or alcohol or whatever it may be, you know what I mean?
Right.
Cutting it out can be tough because
Exactly.
you feel like you might not be able to survive without it or whatever. But
Right.
when you find you're slowly taking it out,
Yeah.
then it just becomes now part of your routine. right?
Exactly.
I actually lost like 40 pounds.
Congratulations.
2 years ago.
Wow.
I cut wheat out of my diet. It's hard.
Oh yeah.
Because everything has wheat in it.
Exactly.
Everything. But I haven't gained it back, and I still don't eat wheat because I read that book Wheat Belly, and it's about that.
It worked
But
for you, yeah.
It worked. I just it like melted off. Like I cut out
Yeah.
wheat, I cut out sugar.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just melted off of me, and I was just
Yeah. And you know, there's a lot of foods that we're allergic to and don't know.
yeah.
You know,
I obviously had a problem with it or something.
yeah, it might not have really stopped you in your tracks, but
just
it
caused
affected you.
something in you.
Minor, right?
Yeah,
You know, I stopped. In my profile, it said that I was allergic to egg whites, and so I cut out egg whites. And I thought that I had like an exercise-induced asthma, and when I cut out the eggs, that went away.
Wow.
I had greater endurance.
It's just like an allergic. It's like an allergic reaction.
Do
of
you
something.
do
Yes,
that through your
Yes.
practice? You do the
Yes.
diet? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I do diets. I
I might
will
have to get that done.
Your
I will-
prescription.
That's a
your
part
whole-
of the prescription,
That's cool.
yeah. A specific diet just for you. And you know, there'll be laboratory tests because I definitely need to know about allergies. Gut health is important. Of course, there's a gut-brain connection, but everything is connected. And so I've been trained to dig into all of those areas and really customize a plan for you in all aspects of your life.
That's awesome. So nutrition is a huge part. Number one thing.
Is sleep. You know, you can die if you don't get enough sleep. It is so important. How else is your body going to process everything that's come in,
Yep.
repair, and get you ready for the next day?
Because that's really what's happening, right? When we're sleeping, or our body is now dormant. Well, our brains are actually very active, but our body is dormant, and
We're
so
digesting.
our body is doing all the
Yes.
parasympathetic things that it needs to do,
Exactly.
so that we can now get up the next day and do it all again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it
Gotta
all
update.
again. So how many? I mean, how many hours? I know the
Like
average
6 to
American
8.
probably gets like
Three.
Is that
to
really the
fi-
statistic?
Well, this is what I've seen in my practice.
Okay. They're coming to you with very,
So many people have issues with sleeping, and it stems from childhood up. I mean, lifelong histories of sleep issues. And not only, so you need 6 to 8 hours, it's recommended. Of course, I'm individualized, so it's like, I'm gonna take you where you at.
Right.
You know?
Get more than you are now,
Right.
at least. If you're getting 3, maybe try 4.
Right.
Right.
And a lot of everything else that we've talked about impacts your sleep. Of
course.
You know, so a lot of things that I recommend are like journaling before you go to bed. People are concerned, people are worried, and they can't sleep. You know, they got themselves wound up and it continues to keep spinning. So take all of your thoughts, write it down in a journal, do a video journal or something, get it out of you.
Smart.
And put it somewhere in a drawer and close it out into another room and let it go.
That feels good, just you saying that. You know what I mean? Having that
Yes.
routine, honestly.
Yes, so you can go to sleep. You need to have a sleep routine. You do certain things. I am an aromatherapist. Aromatherapy is part of my practice. And taking a nice bath, doing something for you. If you like to read your brief before you go to
Read your brief.
Some of those briefs are going to put her to sleep.
Exactly.
It's going to require more coffee.
Do things that put you in a different mind space and help you to calm down and get away from the world. Again, it's that unplugging. You know, so I don't look at my emails anymore and things like
Well,
that.
those blue lights are, I mean,
Blue lights, you need to be in a
know.
dark room. But again, it's individualized as well because I sleep. I trained myself. I trained myself when I was young. That was the one thing I could control in my life was sleep. I sleep. So, but some people are very light sleepers. Some people have certain traumas in their past that doesn't allow them to sleep. So what I'm suggesting is just do something that just helps you a little bit more.
I
Sleep
have
in a better
found for
way.
those people, it's something I use occasionally. There's a podcast, it's called the Sleep With Me podcast. And it is, I mean, it's not for everybody, I suppose, but it definitely helps. I don't know what, you know, it's just, you know, he's got this nice little voice that just lulls you right back to
Like ASMR.
It kind of
There's-
is, yeah,
Some
yeah.
people do different ASMR things.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah.
it's kind of weird.
I know,
but-
right? It's
like the folding of the sheets. I
know.
never understood that. I was like,
we'll have to get the mics out, John, and do some ASMR.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, absolutely. Sleep is huge. I mean, and you know, I
Yeah.
try to get more. It's hard sometimes.
It
but
is.
It sounds like. I mean, without it though, we're
Yeah.
not doing good.
Right. That is the number one thing you want to really work on. Calm
love that
is
app.
great.
I love that
They've allowed me as a part of my prescription to give a discount or free trial for a certain
Amazing.
time period to people.
I love the Calm
on
app. I
Calm.
use it. I mean, I use it with regularity. I mean, because
Yes.
as they sort of say on there all the time. I mean, you know, even shutting your brain off, you know, for a few minutes, it's kind of like a computer. You know what I mean? If you shut it off and shut it back on, you can really go on with your day. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
a 5-minute, you know, body scan on the Calm app, I mean, can really do wonders. I mean, I do that kind of thing before
Yes.
court. I use it before court. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just to like kind of refocus my brain and make sure that my body
Yes.
isn't doing things. You know, because I know when I walk into court, you know, I mean, sometimes, you know, your adrenaline is going because you're like, we're ready to fight, or we're, you know, whatever it is, you know. That's amazing that the COM is doing that. That's so fantastic. That's really great.
I use it with my teenage son. You know, teenagers, they become night owls and they can't sleep, and they have bedtime stories and so many options. They even have focus stuff so they can study. So really, really good options on CALM. That's one recommendation. I found some nice things on YouTube. I think his name is Mike Seeley or somebody. That voice, you know, just give me the right voice, you know, and you can kind of lull into another place. But like I said, I don't have a problem. I'll go to sleep. You know, I will sleep. But being refreshed from the sleep is important as well. It needs to be refreshing, and that means it did what it was supposed to do.
Right.
So let me just wrap up a few things. I gave you all my one-liners, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Just take these and do something that moves you a little bit forward more. Be more mindful and aware of your body and what you're doing. All things in moderation. Don't beat yourself up. You know, you may have a 2-liter today, but you know, maybe you'll be just a few ounces less tomorrow and took in a little bit more water. So all things in moderation, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Everything is connected, so everything can cause other things, and so taking care of the overall you will help you get there. There's 3 things that I'm offering. One is going to be an infographic of the things that I'm talking about.
John will be throwing it up for you.
2 is going to be the meal plan. That's going to give you everything, and for that you'll go to my website, drtiffanymsmith.com. And then the 3rd thing I wanted to offer is what's called the Dirty Dozens, and this is for produce. It's a great environmental organization that they do the Dirty Dozen. So it's the 12 fruits and vegetables that you definitely buy organic because they are the dirtiest. They take in the most pesticides and toxins from the soil. Now they also have a clean as well, and I'm going to give you the clean as well. So I want to share their resources, so you know, because you know, money's going to be funny while we're going through this. So you don't want to get something that might cause you more problems. So at least if you got the things that were on the dirty list in organic, and you worked out the rest.
Perfect.
You know, and another thing, all of the sanitizer's gone, right, and all the paper towels and all the toilet tissue. But when I went to the produce section, it's full. It's full. It's plentiful.
It's full. Everybody's.
It's plentiful.
We're worried about paper, but we're not worried about still eating good.
Exactly. and that's why, you know, we're here today talking about this and talking about the care of yourself. We should be getting all them veggies, and we should be eating them. We really need to build ourselves up, because that's what's going to help us get through this healthy and safe and happy. So,
yes. Dr. Smith, thank you so much for coming on today. I think you've such a timely reason for you being here. Thank you for being a wonderful Trial by Peers parent.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing all of your kids, you know what I mean, through this
they don't
program.
Know. I'm Kelso's mom.
Yes, Kelso's mom. Yes. Which, I mean, I mean, really, thank you so much. I mean, and thank you for giving us this good information about how we can try to keep ourselves healthy as we're going through all of this.
Yeah, definitely. Go to drtiffanymsmith.com. I'm going to have this information for you. I'm also going to create an online immune system program so we can dig deeper into some of the topics we're talking about. That'll be available to you. So
some great stuff coming from Dr. Smith too.
Yes,
I'm excited.
Take care of yourself. Do all you can for yourself.
Please do. Please do. And make sure you go out and vote in the primary election. We've got Mandy McKellar here. You can vote for her if you'd like to. Make sure you go to her website as well. You can go to lawtalk.vegas and check out our past episodes. You make sure you go to the Facebook page as well, Las Vegas Law Talk. It's been such a pleasure having you both on. Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us
Kelso's
today.
off the stage, but we appreciated having him here today too. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, and we appreciate you guys coming around again. See ya.
Take care.